Well, hello all you recovery rebels and welcome to Lunch Break Live. Real talk about obesity, food obsession, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz, and on today's show, the truth about coping. But before I go there, why on earth should you even listen to me? Well, you'll have to decide that. But let me just tell you that I am a 2007 gastric bypass post-op, living life in recovery from obesity and food obsession as twice the woman and half the body. I am also what I like to call a recovery strategist, which means I like to help people find ways to cope with the stuff that eats us up, okay? The way I do that is I show people how to cut to the chase by owning their crap. So there's an awful lot of honesty involved in that. And if you guys have tuned in for any length of time, you know that I do not sugarcoat that truth ever, because sugarcoating is what got us here in the first place. So with that said, let me check in with you guys. Let me see how you all are doing. Really happy that you're here. Of course, I do see my mom's name flying by. Are you guys good? Are you doing well? I mean, I know it's kind of an odd week when we have a holiday going on, even though I've spent every day with you. It's a little bit unusual. I mean, here we are already on a Thursday if you're joining me live here in the United States. Friday morning if you're over there in Kiwi land, my New Zealand friends. But how are you doing? Are you guys hanging in there? It sounds like I'm sensing that there is a little bit of a struggle, and I think holidays bring that out in us. Holidays, because they are celebratory times, tend to complicate things. They tend to bring out the guilt because we equate food with celebration, and yet we really don't have a reason to celebrate about food because it makes us miserable. So I'm picking up a little undercurrent there that I think people are struggling. So let me just see who's here, and then I got a few questions to throw your way. Let's see here. Mama and Nancy. You guys, my little bookends. Talk about bookends. Thank you guys both for being here front and center and for sharing the show, Mama. And Dorothy, hi, it's so great to see you. Nancy, I'm glad you're doing great. Short weeks are nice. I always say short weeks are the longest. Let's see here. Who else is here? Michelle, you're becoming a regular, aren't you? I love that. Really glad that you're here. I did miss you the last few shows, but you're right. I mean, that's why they're there. The on-demand option is always there so you can go back and catch up. And hey, life happens, right? We all have life that gets in the way. Regina, did you get your order? Regina ordered a t-shirt and is the beneficiary of a discount because she is a patron of Lunch Break Live. Yay, you saved $5 on that. Thanks for ordering your t-shirt. I also, let's see, who else ordered tees? Susan, she was my first one. Susan McCloskey, you ordered first. And Mary Kay Lane. So I'm already getting those orders coming in for Recovery Rebel t-shirts. Super excited about it. We'll talk more about it at the end of the show, but and you just paid, aren't you? Good. Awesome. I can't wait to be able to order these. I just need a few more orders so I know how many of each size to order. All right. Now, don't let me lose my train of thought. Like I said this morning on the road, I'm a fart on a skillet again today. All right, so here's what I want to know. Who did join me for yesterday's show, whether it was live and whether you're watching me now on demand? Did you join me? Yes, you did, Mama. You were here. Did you join me for yesterday's show where I talked about do you cope or say nope? That's what I want to know. Okay, I see happy faces and thumbs up flying by. That's terrific. Thumbs up from Regina, right on. Okay, I want to know how many of you guys joined me for today's live from the 405. And Nancy joined me yesterday. Did you guys join me today live from the 405? I wasn't quite on the 405 when I started, but you know, that's how I roll. Let me know. Okay, I see some thumbs up going by. See, what I've figured out is when I do live from the 405 as a promo, I'm wanting to say promotion, as a promo for this program, I realize that I'm laying the foundation for the program and saying things that I may not even end up saying on Lunch Break Live. So it's not a bad idea to be able to tune in and watch that little 10-minute program in the mornings. Well, hey, Steve, I'm really glad you're here. And Nancy, you saw me this morning too, and you watched this morning. Right on. Thank you, guys. I know. Are you getting too much of me in one day? Is it just like too much of the redhead? It's all right. I understand. All right. Here's what I want to know. How many of you guys freaked out when I asked yesterday if you coped by eating? How many of you guys, hi Jerry, I'm so glad you're here. How many of you guys freaked out when I asked if you cope by eating? How did you feel about that? Did you kind of feel unsettled? Did you feel frustrated? Did you feel, freaked out and upset? Did you kind of say, yeah, that's me, I'm going to own it? I mean, what was your reaction? See if you guys can let me know in a little one-word answer there. And also what I want to know is, did your definition, you didn't freak out, you knew that already, Regina says, so you're on to you. You're on to you, right? That's what you're saying. Also, did your definition of coping change? Was it modified, or was it the same as a result of the show yesterday? Now, you'll note that at the beginning of the show, I mentioned the definition of coping that I usually used, which was managing, surviving, just, waiting for it to pass, waiting for the storm to pass, just white knuckling it kind of thing, or even avoiding, which is the antithesis of coping. So I'm just curious. I felt fine because I've known it, and you passed that, Jerry says. Okay, so in other words, you're saying, look, coping is not a reason for me to eat anymore. I don't eat to cope. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jerry. Is that what I'm understanding? And Mama, you said that you're learning. All right. So lots to think about here today. All right. You guys can continue to give me some feedback, and I'll do my best to look up at you and see what you're saying. Okay, let's see here. Nancy says, I think my definition of coping did change a bit for the better, realizing that coping is much more than just getting through it. Good. It's kind of empowering, isn't it? Because it's letting you know that you actually have some work that can be done there, that you can dispatch it, you can deal with it, you can face it, you don't have to relive it, maybe, stuff like that. You have more power. I never thought that distraction or ignoring was not coping. Yeah, me neither. Shock. What a surprise, right? I know, the things you learn when you ask. All right, cool. This is really great work that you guys are doing. Let's see here. All right. Now, as I promised you yesterday as I was signing off from the long show, all right, we're going to be doing some good work on this subject because I think it matters. I think it's an important subject for a lot of different reasons. And what that means is I'm not going to leave you high and dry to do this alone, all right? I'm going to read your comment, Jerry. I just saw it pop up, all right? I do know that I have newer viewers, all right? And for those of you who are new to the program, you may feel like you were out getting popcorn during the first half of the movie. Like, you know what? Am I in the right theater? I mean, I feel like I thought I was signing up for this movie, but oh my gosh, I don't even know who these characters are. I don't even know who I am. I'm just like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm in over my head. Don't give up, all right? Recovery is a process. And treating obesity and or food obsession, it's multifaceted, okay? It's not an overnight thing. There are lots and lots of variables, lots of factors, lots of things to consider when you're talking about dealing with it, all right? I have no doubt that some of you who tuned in yesterday for the first time were probably shocked. You were like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. All right, I have no doubt, especially if you thought obesity was just about like losing weight, and losing weight was about food and exercise. This would be quite a shock to the system to learn that there's so much more to it, all right? And it is true that food and exercise are part of it, but if that's all there was to the story, I wouldn't be doing this. You guys wouldn't have to join me every day, right? How many of us would be where we are today? If that was all the story, you got to eat this and you got to move like this, and you go, oh, okay, and then you do it, right? But if that's all there was to the story, there wouldn't be much of a story to tell, all right? How many of us here, maybe the newbies that are new to the show, and even those of you who are seasoned veterans to the show, how many of us have a past that is littered with the wreckage of failed diet attempts? How many of us? So many of us. We're scarred, we are battered, we are beaten, we are bruised by that reality, okay? Some of us, if we've been doing this work, of recovery, and if you guys have been joining me for any length of time, you have begun to recognize that that can stay in the past, that doesn't have to define who you are today. It certainly informs your journey. It certainly explains a lot about where you came from, but it certainly does not dictate where you're going to go, right? But for some of us, again, newer viewers, you're like, whoa, just whoa. I mean, wreckage. It's just brutality. It's a mess. I can't face it. Don't give up, okay? Hang on. Just hang on, because help is here. It's going to take a little bit of work, but I'm not going to leave you alone to do it. All right? That is why I do Lunch Break Live. You know, it's because we're not alone. Obesity, the disease of obesity, the disease of food addiction, wants us to believe that we are alone. It wants us to believe we're weird, that no one would understand us, that we're worthless, that we have no value, there's something wrong with us, we're broken, and that if we only knew why we did it, we would stop doing it and we would be normal. That is what the disease is of obesity and like food addiction. That's what they want us to believe. That's what they tell us, and we buy it hook, line, and sinker. Funny thing is, doesn't sit well, does it? It doesn't feel right, so we eat over it because we're so miserable, because we know it's not true. We're not alone, okay? Every time we show up together and spend this time together and say, me too, that proves that that's a lie, that you're alone and that there's no hope, all right? So yesterday, yeah, we did talk about coping, and I learned this. See, I love this show because I learn a lot. A lot of you guys were never informed that coping would be an important part of long-term weight loss success when you were preparing for like surgery or starting a medically supervised weight loss program or going to Weight Watchers or anything like that. I was, like, honestly, I was stunned. I just thought that was something that everybody talked about. It was obvious to me that it had to be more than food and exercise. There had to be something else, right? But to find out that you guys, that it had never really even come up, I was just like, I was kind of disappointed, actually. I was like, man, this is harder than I thought. This is worse than I thought. In other words, no wonder people are so confused. No wonder people feel like giving up, right? Because they don't realize what's involved here, what's at stake, all right? It just showed me that you guys were not prepared for the reality of life after weight loss, life in recovery. But that just shows to go, yeah, as I like to say, that just goes to show the complexity and diversity of obesity, right? That this is not an easy thing to deal with, to treat. All right. So does anyone want to share? Because I gave you guys an assignment yesterday. Does anyone want to share what you guys came up with for some of the things you struggle to cope with? Now, remember, we talked about some of our responses to those things, what coping really means. Okay. We talked in general terms about reasons for stress, things we have to cope with. We talked about like relationships or money concerns or things like that. We talked about kids, a few other things which I'm going to talk about. But does anybody have anything that as they sat down and did their list? Hey, Tanya, I'm glad you made it live to the show. I'm going to scroll back and just kind of check in with a few people. Let's see. Hey, Lynn, I'm so glad you're here. And Jerry was saying, I just don't get upset about food coping. Now I just go with the emotions and feel them to the max. All right, so obviously, you know, some of the work that we want to do, Jerry, is not have to feel like a raw nerve all the time where we don't have any hope for the very real feelings that we're experiencing, but that we actually can address the stress. We can address those feelings and decide what we're going to do about it because we actually have the power. So now that you're not feeding it anymore and you're feeling it, which for a lot of people is a new experience. A lot of people don't know how to feel. You know, they're like, oh, hey, no, foreign, don't feel. I don't do that, okay? Me and feeling, no, not good friends, okay? I get it. A lot of people are raised not to show feelings because that's weakness or, you know, okay? Other people are like a raw nerve. They're just like one big feeling. It's just everything, you know what? I don't even feel like getting out of bed this morning, and that's how they roll, right? So I do understand feelings are a funny thing. So, all right, so anybody wanted to share, because if not, you know, I'm just going to kind of fill in some blanks here, about some of the things that people struggle to cope with. And I will tell you this, okay, I know that yesterday we talked about finances, relationships, job stresses, right? Confrontation, that's a biggie. That's why I've done shows on confrontation before. Hola, Gavi, how are you? Injury, this is a biggie. It's a biggie. It comes up quite frequently. Accidents, injuries, right? Chronic illness and debilitating sicknesses, okay, this kind of stuff. And of course, death. These are big stresses, big things that we struggle to cope with. Okay, so physical abilities, meaning physical limitations, physical disabilities, would you say, Tanya? All right. Those seem to be the biggest culprits in the realm of things that we struggle to cope with. Don't you agree? I mean, there's lots and lots of stuff, but I think those are kind of good categories. Okay. So I guess what I'll say is, here's where I want to, yes. Okay. Got it. So limitations, right? Hey, Diana, glad you're here. Just kind of gearing up right now. Okay. So yes, it is scary to feel, Jerry says, but it feels good to feel joy, anger, fear, anxiety, hope, sadness. Yeah, it's true. It is good to feel those things and acknowledge them rather than stuffing them. Absolutely. A lot of people stuff them. A lot of people stuff them. It's what we learned when we were, kids maybe in the household, is that you don't show your feelings. You're stoic. You just cope with it quietly, deal with it, stuff it down like you said. Yeah. Other people, like I said, are just all feelings, and then that's it. It's like, how do I feel? That's going to help me decide, whether I put one foot in front of the next. So broad spectrum, isn't there, between, really not feeling anything and over feeling everything. All right. So here's where I want to begin today. Okay. What is the truth behind the things that we struggle to cope with? Okay. The truth behind things like financial concerns, relationship concerns, injury, accidents, physical situations. Okay. Hi, Violet. What is the truth behind those things? Because here's the reality of it. Okay. Here's what I want to know. How often do we enhance or exaggerate the things we struggle to cope with? Is anyone out there willing to acknowledge and admit that they exaggerate some of the things they have to cope with? I'm raising my hand. Absolutely. I absolutely, my character defects are behind those feelings, Regina says. Interesting. Well, that's like something for another show, isn't it? That's a biggie. A lot. Tanya says a lot. So you exaggerate. You are willing to acknowledge and own the fact that you enhance or exaggerate the stuff that you have to cope with. Meaning, do you make it worse than it is, or do you minimize? Okay. In other words, do you minimize it and say, it's not a big deal, or do you exaggerate and blow it out of proportion? I think that's actually a really good question. So Michelle says, yeah, she does. So she blows it out of proportion. Tanya, you're saying you blow it out of proportion. Anybody minimize it and pretend that it just doesn't exist? Often people that are not comfortable with feeling feelings will minimize and say, it's not a big deal. Just ignore it and it'll go away. Just stuff it down, right? So that's another, extreme. You minimize things. Okay. You minimize it. Absolutely. This is great. Recovering drama queen. You see that? Do you see that? And yet we are all in the same room here, aren't we? And we're all dealing with coping. You minimize. Okay. Not a big deal. Oh, it's fine. Except that it's not. Okay. That would be me minimizing. And you blow it out of the water, Violet. See? Do you see? Okay. Now, why do you think we do that? Any idea why we might not address things realistically? Why we feel the need to distort? I think distortion is a really great word. I explode it first and then I think it through when I'm calmer and work it out. And I think, Jerry, that is progress. I think a lot of us, it takes time to get there if we ever get there. Let's see. Michelle says, yes, my daughter always calls me a drama queen. Tanya says, for attention. So you believe that you do what you do for attention. Heidi says she minimizes. And Diana, you're a stuffer. And you minimize to stuff your feelings so you won't have to feel, Dawn says. Okay. So Tanya, you're saying because you're feeling unheard. You're like, I got to get somebody's attention here. SOS. Hello, Mayday. Obviously, you're not responding to this thing, so I need to make it much bigger than it is, right? Is that kind of what you're saying? And don't want to admit that we're wrong. All right. Ooh, very powerful stuff, isn't it? There's a bitter pill to swallow, huh? All right, yes. And to take the focus off me. Interesting, right? Distraction, right? Let's create a distraction over there so that you won't look at the man behind the curtain. You won't see what's going on here. All right? Absolutely. And here are some words that I use to fill in, and you tell me if these resonate with you. The reason you might distort the reality of the things that you need to cope with: sympathy, empathy, compassion, forgiveness, permission, explanation, or reason. Okay? So we do that because we're seeking sympathy or empathy. We want compassion or forgiveness. Maybe we want permission to do what it is that we are going to do in response to that stress, okay, that circumstance. We want permission to do something usually unhealthy, don't we? Because you really don't need permission to do something healthy for the most part, okay? And how about explanation or a reason? I do this because of that. I'm looking for a reason, and that's why. Because I didn't cope with it, I eat. Because I didn't, and it got out of hand, okay? Or because it was just so bad, I did this, okay? So we look for justification, maybe. Permission is totally me. Hey, Douglas, welcome. I think you're a newer viewer. Welcome, welcome. And Melissa, I'm really glad you joined. All right, here's what I wanted to do. There was something that came up, and this comes up frequently, and this is a toughie, all right? Let's talk about injury and like an accident, okay? Because that happens to a lot of us, okay? And it goes a long way to explain why we choose not to make healthy choices, right? All right. I hear a lot of people say that they've regained weight because they were injured, okay? Now, at face value, that's understandable because you could say, well, you're less active, okay? If you've been injured, if you were in an accident, in all likelihood, you're less active. Maybe you're dealing with medications, like even steroids, that might lead to weight gain. Maybe it leads to depression, right? Pain meds, dealing with pain leads to depression, not being able to move, not being able to have the quality of life you once had. You're dealing with depression, right? Okay, but upon further analysis, when we dig just a little bit deeper and we get beyond that stuff, we learn that the weight regain we're talking about, more than just inactivity, is because we made unhealthy food choices. And then we claim, well, we made unhealthy food choices because, okay, I wasn't able to cook for myself anymore and cook healthy food. I wasn't able to do the shopping. Someone else had to do the shopping for me. They don't know what I need. You know what? I wasn't able to eat the same things I was able to eat anymore because, my stomach was upset. So I had to drink, chocolate shakes. Okay, right? So we start to feel sorry for ourselves maybe. We want comfort. We want understanding. We want to feel better. We're tired of the pain. We're tired of being injured, right? We do the thing we always did. We turn to food because we say, food was always there for me and I know how I felt when I ate it. Ooh, that just looks so good. I want that. That'll make me feel better. That's what we do, right? Okay, that's truth. That's what that is. It's not an indictment. It's not beating anybody else up. It's truth, okay? But it's not coping in the sense of dealing with reality. So here's what I'm looking for when I'm talking about really digging deep and getting to the reality. Ready? Is the injury permanent or will you recover? Can you work or are you on disability? Is this disfiguring or will you heal? Truth, okay? Nobody said it was going to be pretty, but dealing with truth helps you to actually cope with reality. Will you need to change the way you move in order to remain or become active? Will your dietary needs change as a result of this, okay? All of that stuff is truth. And sometimes somebody said, ooh, this truth hurts. I think the unacknowledged truth hurts more and is often bigger. We make it bigger than the truth really is, you see, part of the exaggerating or the minimizing because we're afraid of the reality of what it is. But if we don't accept it, if we don't put it out there and say, this is my truth, what am I going to do about it? If we don't put it out there, then we are in a constant state of reacting to whatever is happening, whatever's going on in our lives, okay? So it is up to us. Coping is taking charge of, getting a handle on, right? Beginning to deal with the reality of what is. We deal with what is, not what we wish, okay? It doesn't mean that we lose sight of dreams or goals or making things better. That's not what that is. But what that means is we don't live in La La Land, in the land of fantasy and magical thinking that says, well, if only this weren't the case, then I'd be able to do that. But the reality, but I'm here and I just can't help it. And we do that stuff. And then how do we feel about ourselves? We feel disingenuous because we know we lied. We know we are in denial and we know we lied to ourselves. And then we double down and we feel really, really bad about ourselves, don't we? Okay, so when we're talking about, hey, David, welcome. When we are talking about coping in healthy ways, and I had you guys making that list, we need to get to the truth of what is really involved, all right? Other things that I wrote, death. What is the reality of death? Death is pretty permanent, isn't it? There's no going back from death, okay? We have to face the reality, the truth of what that death represents. Maybe it was a death of a parent, a spouse, a loved one, a child, a pet, a friend, okay? Maybe it was the death of a dream, a goal. Maybe it was the death of a belief in ourselves, okay? Death of a friendship, okay? So there's a lot of ways that death factor into our life, okay? We need to address it with truth that says, yes. So for example, I lost someone I love. What can I do about it? I cannot bring them back, okay? And a lot of us look to that place and we say, look, you go through the stages of grieving, the stages of grief, until you arrive at that place of acceptance. That doesn't mean happiness, but it says it is what it is. Now, what am I going to do about it? So often we hear people say, well, that person would not want you to put your life on hold. That person would not want you to stop living. That person would not. All right, what can we do with the life that we have to cope with, which is to say, to face and deal with the reality of that death, whatever that was, so that we don't eat over it? Because we know that when we feed that, it doesn't change the death. It doesn't undo death. The death doesn't go away. The death is still there. And as a matter of fact, we're now feeding our own death, aren't we? The death of our self-esteem, the death of our health, the death of our belief in ourselves, right? That's what we're feeding. All right. So it's important to look at that when we're talking about death. Relationships. You know what? Own your crap, right? Part of the truth. What role am I playing in this unhealthy relationship? Whether it's my relationship with myself, with food, with a spouse, with a child, a family member, at the workplace. What role? What is my part of this? We're big controllers, a lot of us, right? Want to control. I want to control what you think of me. I want to control what, okay? What is my part of this? How did I contribute to this unhealthy relationship? What is my role? And if you want to talk about coping with that, then you own the truth and you say, you know what? I chose to gossip. I chose to tell lies about that person. I chose to not be reliable and accountable. I chose to go against the wishes of that person when they very clearly expressed to me what mattered most to them. I chose to undermine them and not be supportive. I chose to be unloving. I chose to be hurtful, right? I chose to make fun of them and humiliate them. Maybe you're talking about yourself. I chose to make fun of and humiliate myself and let myself down and not be accountable and not show up and not be loving, right? This is the truth that I'm talking about. I can't fill in these blanks for you guys. I need you to do that, to give me something tangible so we can do this work together. Okay? It can't be a one-way street. I really do need your help to get back to me with some of the feedback, some of the truths that are being revealed, not for the purpose of putting you down, making you feel bad about yourself. Good heavens, no. That the time for that is past. The time for that is long gone. That's not about recovery, okay? You own your crap, you set it down, and you say, I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to put the crap down. But first, got to turn and face it. What role am I playing in this? Am I really coping or am I avoiding? Okay? Am I making this worse or am I minimizing it? Am I just running away from it because I can't deal with it and I figure if I just run away, then that problem will stay here and I'll be over there? Okay? We need to look at how it is that we do respond in times of stress because we don't always eat. Sometimes we avoid. Sometimes we get angry and blow up and push people away. Get out of my face, right? There, the threat is gone. I'm pushing it away. So we want to explore that kind of stuff as we continue to do work on what I think is a very, very important part of the recovery process, which is this idea of coping. And in order to cope, we got to deal with truth, right? So I'm going to let you guys go. Deep stuff here. I'm at the 30-minute mark. I can't go longer. I'm going to let you go. And thank you so much for being here and being willing to do this work with me, being courageous and showing up. And I do want to remind you to share this show if you think this will benefit others, because I kind of think it will. If you're a newer viewer, I encourage you to hang in there. Watch some of the episodes that are available on demand. Might help you to lay a foundation and have a greater understanding. All right. I promise also that I will do some basic work, revisit some basics and stuff like that on future shows as well as our audience grows, to make sure that I'm as inclusive as I can possibly be. This takes courage and commitment, you guys. So I'm really grateful for your enthusiasm and for your willingness to just show up and grow up. It really, really matters to me. So I'm going to sign off, but before I do, I want to remind you all to become patrons of this program to help me to continue to do the work of real recovery, and that's going to be real truth and real talk, all right? Also, Recovery Rebel shirts, woo-hoo-hoo, they are available. They are up and posted. I've already, I think, 4 of you guys have purchased shirts already. They're available in both V-neck and scoop neck. They're black men's cut, so those sleeves are going to be a little bit more generous. They're 2-color. They got that red and white logo emblazoned right across the chest. As soon as I get enough orders in so I know what sizes to order, I will place that order and get them shipped out to you. I have to charge you guys for priority shipping. That's like believe it or not, it's like the cheapest and most efficient way to get it to you. You get it faster, you track it, and I'll be able to get it in your hands, and I'm not marking up shipping at all. The double XL and triple XL sizes do cost me more money, $1.50 more. V-necks are also more expensive, but I'm not passing that expense on to you. I'm just trying to keep it as easy as possible. So it's like $20 flat plus shipping, or $21.50 flat plus that $6.50 shipping. So if you guys want a Recovery Rebel shirt, go ahead and send me an email at me@carriedelacruz.com with all your particulars, your size, the style you want, V-neck, scoop neck, all right, your address, and then I'll send you an invoice that you can pay online, all right? Super excited about it. Cannot wait to get this movement underway so that we're all wearing these really super cool t-shirts. So I'm going to sign off. I said that like 47 times. I think I will. Remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, rebelliously live your recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember to share the show. Take care. Bye.